Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling. And man, I appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to watch the video and spend some time with me. And guys, I've been saying this a little bit lately. I do appreciate you guys coming by. It's like, I don't know if you guys know it, but like doing YouTube videos are so difficult anymore. There are so many bass fishing YouTube channels out there that it is very difficult anymore to get views on YouTube. So coming by the channel, spending some time watching the video with me, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. Guys, I got a really good video today that I want to share with you guys. I put a lot of time and thought and effort into this video. There are two things I saw yesterday that I want to talk about that everybody needs to hear this and sort of listen to what I'm going to say here. I saw an interview yesterday with Boyd Duckett on Bass Talk Live, Matt Pangrack's show. He was basically talking about the rule changes and some different format changes with the Bass Pro Tour and stuff going on at MLF next year. And then there was also a video put out by Chris Johnson, aspiring angler Chris Johnson, who's one of my my three favorite YouTube channels right now are probably Chris Johnson and Get Your Fish On and Dale Verd's Old School Bass Fishing. I just love those channels there. But anyway, Chris Johnson put out a video also yesterday. And what I'm going to do in this video here is I'm going to share some clips of those videos here in this video. I've got a clip of Boyd that I'm going to talk about here first, and then I'm going to show you guys the clip of Chris and talk a little bit about that. And I'll link both of those videos in the description, Bass Talk Live and Chris's full video. You guys can watch it. But we're going to get into that in today's video. I think you guys are going to find it pretty interesting. Also, guys, for get started, just a couple of our daily housekeeping tips to keep the lights on here on Intuitive Angling. Just want to invite everybody to please consider hitting that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. Appreciate you guys that are doing that, free and easy. And also, guys, thank you very much for everybody that's been supporting the channel by going into my video description. Every video I do, I've got my Solar Bat sunglasses link, my jig link in there, Cumberland Pro Lures jig link, my Fish the Moment Lake Map breakdowns, my tackle warehouse link in there if you guys would like to use that to purchase your fishing tackle. Thank you very much for me and my family, for everybody that supports Intuitive Angling by using those links. That means a lot to all of us here at the household. Okay, guys, here was the deal. Boyd Duckett has sort of been on the podcast circuit the last couple of weeks, and he's talking about a lot of the changes that they've made next year with MLF. And one specific, change that they're talking about, and Boyd has been talking about this a lot, is his opinion of forward-facing sonar within the tournaments on MLF. So I want to play this clip real quick for you, and then I'm going to comment on it, and then I'm going to comment on it, then I'm going to play Chris Johnson's clip, and I'm going to comment on that, and then we're going to compare those two. And I want the point of this video is Boyd Duckett needs to watch this video from Chris Johnson and absorb it and learn something. I think it would really help everybody out involved. So anyway, check out the clip from Boyd here real quick, and we'll be back.
So, forward-facing sonar, which is a very powerful technology, as we can see now, the technology allows an angler to have the opportunity to do things. Basically, here's maybe the quickest way to break it down. Kevin Van Dam spent 75% of his casts in his career were not to a bass. 100% of Drew Gill's casts are to a bass.
And a big one, too.
And a big one a lot. So statistically, it just can't compete. Okay? So for me, and that's what the technology did, and it's wonderful. Hey, it provides great experience for anglers, and it's a new technique that's fun and exciting. I think it's brought a lot of young anglers that find that part of it intriguing, that might not have they might not have become tournament fishermen if they just had to flip and throw a crankbait, right? So, but so I don't like to say it's forward-facing sonar. That is a problem. It is a technique that is so dominant that it creates single-dimensional angling. That's the real problem. That's the disruptor. It isn't that it isn't cool and that you can't catch a lot of bass. We catch record, weight on it. But it is single-dimensional angling. So that's the problem. It's not forward-facing sonar, it's the effectiveness of it. So let me just say, if we created a crankbait technology and that was kind of the only way you could win most bass tournaments, then you would be forced to crank 100% of the time to be competitive. And guys would not, a number of guys would not participate or punch in a big weight if that's the only way you could win everywhere in the country because some big weight technology came out, right? Mm-hmm. So that's really the problem. It's not the forward-facing sonar, it's that we have a single dimensional angling, and that is losing participants. As a league, organizer, or as a professional fishing league, all of us combined, and all anglers that enjoy tournament fishing, it's critical for us as tournament anglers. You can't have two sides. You can't have forward-facing events, non-forward-facing events, because our sport barely pays good enough already, right? We need, even if it's a weekend tournament on Grand Lake, you need that whole 100 boats, right, to have a good tournament and a decent payout. You can't have half of them fish one and half fish another. We're not going to make it as tournament anglers splitting up. So that only leaves the choice of finding out how to incorporate forward-facing sonar or this particular technique. That's really what it is. It's no different than restricting an Alabama rig as a specific technique or any other up-and-coming lure or technology. So I believe that we shouldn't, as tournament organizations, have the authority or try to pretend to restrict the creation of technology, baits, techniques. That's an industry thing. But
Okay, guys, as you can see it right there, Boyd has a spin on forward-facing sonar that I completely do not agree with. And I'm going to explain to you guys why I don't agree with that. But first, I want you guys to watch Chris Johnson's little clip here, and then I'm going to get into the meat of the video, and I'm going to dig into this, and I'm going to compare the two videos, and then, make the point of what I'm trying to do in this particular episode. So check out Chris Johnson's little video here, and I'll be right back with full commentary.
What I think just might be one of the most underrated spinnerbait colors out there. Now, this thing's a fish catcher. Always has been. And back in the old days, if you said spinnerbait, somebody probably go, oh, don't chartreuse spinnerbait. But it seems like over the years that this color has just kind of faded away. And I'll tell you, it's one of my favorites. It's, fall, spring, really all the time. It's a lot better bait than we give it credit. And just solid chartreuse, like that right there. It's got chartreuse trailer, chartreuse skirt, head, gold blades. A lot of people talk about a chartreuse spinnerbait these days, but it's always a big tandem willow leaf with 2 chartreuse willows or chartreuse blades with chartreuse skirt, maybe to burn it for smallmouth and stuff like that. But this bait's gotten forgotten, and it is a fish catcher. So this one here I'm throwing down a river. It's kind of muddy down here, so I just got tandem, nickel gold, Colorado. But another one I throw a ton, and sure enough in the fall, and kind of learned this bait a weird way, is a solid chartreuse, tandem gold willows. And doesn't necessarily have to be hammered, but tandem gold or nickel gold willows, main blade gold, solid chartreuse like this in the fall time is absolutely dynamite. And you'd be surprised. It doesn't have to be a blustery day to use this bait, but man, bass just seem to, I don't know what they think this color is, but they love it. And I'll tell you, being in the retail business of fishing and stuff, this is the least best seller. You sell every other color. And when I had my own tackle store, I was like, man, it's such a good bait. I'm gonna stock a lot of solid chartreuse. Can't give them away. It would be the last one that gets bought. Hardly anybody buys this bait, and it's a producer. We kind of came onto this kind of funny, and it wasn't, I didn't figure it out, but the guy that invented the War Eagle spinnerbait, a guy by the name of Gene Vandiver, shared this bait with us, and they actually shared it with my brother Chad. And one fall on Beaver Lake, it's I think 93 or something like that. I wasn't fishing the singles circuit at the time there on our home lake. That was my second year fishing Red Man, so I was out on the road, you know, living my dreams. And Chad was fishing the singles, and he was either in a tie or in the lead or in second for Angler of the Year going in that last tournament. And then Gene, he'd always kind of liked our family and Chad and me, and he walked over to Chad's boat that morning before the tournament started, and he threw a solid chartreuse with 2 big gold willow leaves on it, and he threw it in Chad's boat, and he said, if you'll throw that all day today, you'll win Angler of the Year. He said, and you go put the whooping on that other old boy, and another local hammer, you know. So and we'd never seen anything like it. I was like, what? And the water's gin clear. So my brother threw that, which he was a deep water guy, but he ended up start throwing that thing that day, and he caught a couple of big old fish on it. And we were hooked. He come home, he was like, oh, you're not gonna believe this. And I think he ended up winning Angler of the Year that year, thanks to old Gene. But boy, ever since then, boy, what a bait. My goodness, at the amount of big bass we've caught. Largemouth like it, big spotted bass like it. Me and my brother's done extremely well throwing one of these. I've done extremely well throwing one of these, just like this, down with the water's a little more colored, or if I'm fishing some shallow wood and stuff with a little bit of stain in the fall time. Man, just solid chartreuse.
Okay, guys, there you go. Now, there is quite a contrast right there between the two. And the first thing I want to say is tell you a little bit about Boyd Duckett. Boyd Duckett is a smart dude, and he's very successful. He's a very successful business person, Bassmaster Classic champion. You can tell by talking to him. I mean, he's a sharp dude. And for somebody to be able to have the resources to purchase MLF and, you know, pursue it like he does right now, I mean, the guy is not dumb. He's a sharp, smart guy. And one of the things I'll say about Boyd is I think it is very good for a tournament organization to be owned by a tournament angler. I think those are the people that need to own tournament organizations. I do not think people that don't have a background in tournament fishing and understands the nuances and the realities of tournament fishing, I don't think they have any business owning a tournament organization. All of the best tournament organizations I've ever fished are owned and run by bass fishermen, especially competitive fishing. So from that standpoint, I'm glad that Boyd is in that position of MLF. I feel a lot more comfortable with somebody like himself that is a seasoned tournament angler and successful tournament angler running the ship there. Nevertheless, guys, I want to say one thing about that. Boyd Duckett put a spin on this forward-facing sonar that I completely don't agree with. Boyd and so many other people out there, and like I said, I respect Boyd Duckett. I'm not trying to diss him. I'm trying to interject my viewpoint on this channel into a broader discussion because this affects so many people. The decisions that are made with MLF affect people's lives. So one of the things about it is Boyd is completely missing the point of everything I've been talking about for 3 years here. He has basically narrowed down the entire forward-facing sonar debate and argument to the fact that it just, you know, he doesn't want to have one technique dominating everything. That is not the dangers of forward-facing sonar, guys. He's missing the point as far as that it just completely changes the tradition and the heritage of the sport. And the reason I wanted to put Chris Johnson's video in there is Chris Johnson's video that you saw with that chartreuse spinnerbait is the epitome of what the tradition and heritage and the mystery and the magic of bass fishing is. I'm going to draw the comparisons here. When you are debating technology, you cannot leave out this entire thing about the unlevel playing field that creates, the financial disparity that creates, the financial elitism that technology creates, the fact that it's not fair chase. You know, it's not just another technique. It's like, it's not, the forward-facing sonar is not just another tool. That's a bunch of bullshit. Forward-facing sonar has completely changed the game of sport because it is a piece of technology that creates an element of where it's just not fair chase to the fish. It's not fair. It's not a sport. It's not, it makes bass fishing not a sporting activity. And then you go into the whole thing about removing the mystery and the magic and the wonderment and the unknown of bass fishing. Boyd didn't say any of that. It's like very clinical what he's talking about. He's trying to, you know, he's ignoring the reality of the situation. And there's one aspect. Now, look at Chris Johnson's video. Chris Johnson's video, the nuances in that video are incredible. Number one, take a look at his boat. He's got a flasher on the front of his boat. He's talking about a chartreuse spinnerbait that's been around for 50 years. He's talking about seasonal movements and seasonal patterns and having bass react to certain lure categories based upon the condition that you're fishing. When you saw those two videos, guys, you tell me which one made you feel better. When you saw Chris Johnson in his boat, a very authentic dude, very humble guy. I just love Chris Johnson, man. He's one of my favorite dudes. I just love the guy. And when you see that video, don't tell me that you can't relate to that better than you can relate to Boyd Duckett sitting in his office trying to spin forward-facing sonar into something that it's not. And one of the things that I wanted to, of course, Boyd Duckett could care less what I have to say about it, but what I want to, you know, in a perfect world, I would want Boyd Duckett to watch Chris Johnson's video and just assimilate and absorb the reality of that. Because I think so many people now are out of touch with the majority of bass anglers in this country. The majority of bass anglers in this country hate forward-facing sonar. They hate what it's done to the sport. They hate what it's done to tournament fishing. The participation in tournament fishing on both co-anglers and boaters are down because of forward-facing sonar. And Boyd makes it sound like, the thing that really bothered me about Boyd's interview, and I've seen a couple he does, he makes it sound like it's something that we can't stop, and it's something that's inevitable, and you have to integrate it within the tournament world. Bullshit. That's not the way it is at all. The tournament organizations dictate the popularity of forward-facing sonar because of MLF and Bassmaster and every other, you know, fairly large-scale tournament organization would just say forward-facing sonar and any advanced technologies above flashers, two-dimensional sonar, GPS, and side imaging are illegal in bass fishing tournaments. We wouldn't be having this conversation. Boyd makes it sound like we're all victims of technology and there's not a damn thing that you can do about it. It's coming. It's not coming. This technology, this would not have any impact in fishing whatsoever if it was not allowed in tournaments. Tournament fishing has perpetuated the advancement and the popularity of forward-facing sonar because they've seen the guys come out there, 20-year-old flat brimmers. No insult to 20-year-old flat brimmers. That's just the term I use. I know you guys have had to use it. It's been forced down your throat. You got to use it. So don't get all butt hurt if I call somebody a 20-year-old flat brimmer. It has created this scenario where people have been forced to use that, and it's completely changed the dynamic of the sport. And you can't tell me that our sport is better off watching some dude stare down at a video game screen, and he's got 5, jig head minnows on the deck, and he's not doing anything but staring at that stupid screen. He's ignoring everything around him. And then you look at Chris Johnson sitting on the river talking about a chartreuse spinnerbait with a nice grass line behind him in the background. That is what bass fishing is. That video that Chris Johnson did is everything that's right with the sport. It's everything that's right with tournament fishing. It is what bass fishing needs to be. And we are getting led down this dark road of the normalization of technology in our sport that is freaking dangerous to the sport, and it degrades the sport and it harms the sport. And another thing Boyd said that, later on in the interview, you can watch in the link I put in there, he was saying he's aware of the fact that this forward-facing sonar bullshit is just the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be advancing technologies, and he said they would have to evaluate those technologies as they were developed. Guys, that is disturbing that you would actually want to evaluate a piece of technology that is above forward-facing sonar to integrate in the sport. We have got to set a baseline in the sport. People have got to have a set of balls on them, they got to have a backbone on them, and they've got to stand up for what is right. And everything that Chris Johnson did in that video is right. That is what's right in the world of bass fishing. Everything that Boyd Duckett said in there, and I'm not, like I said, he's got his business model, he's going to do what he wants to, but I was very disturbed at the attitude that he had, which he's a big player in this industry, about forward-facing sonar, because he's missing the point of it. He's completely missed the point of what this debate on forward-facing sonar is, and he's tried to put it in this little, four-cornered room box that is some type of spin on the thing. Ultimately, I want to see the contracts, guys. I want to see the contracts that these tournament organizations have with Garmin and Humminbird and Lowrance. And then when you follow the money, then you can make your decisions on, how those decisions were made within the organization. But I'll tell you another thing. Boyd is talking about how, payouts are bad now and how it's tough. The best times in the sport, guys, we ever had for payouts and low entry fees and big payouts were prior to forward-facing sonar. Forward-facing sonar destroys everything it touches. It's destroying the fishing industry. It's destroying every lure category and every lure genre besides jig head minnow cells. It's destroying the whole level playing field. It's creating this financial elitism within the sport. It's allowing people that have a lot of money and have financial safety nets to excel in the sport when people like myself and Chris Johnson, who did not come from any money, and we've got to scrape together, our lawn mowing money to put gas in our little 14-foot black bottom to try to compete against somebody that has, a big, financial resource pool behind them to have the finest equipment that there is available. So anyway, guys, watch them both. I'll put those links in the video. Comment on them after you watch them. I'd be curious to see your viewpoint on it. And thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it.